Hello, everyone. I'm sorry that you are expecting Hanno, but I'm going to take over his championship video stream. Anyway, I will gladly invite my guests. We've got Martin here. We've got Jamie very soon, and also we're going to get Harry. So there's Martin on that side. We've got Harry down there, and then we don't know where Jamie is. So how are you all doing, lads? We'll start with Martin.
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. I watched the final on Sunday. That was a good watch. I've now shifted half into cricket as well, so I'm in the cricket mode as well now. So the summer is just hopefully going to be around the corner properly.
Fair enough. What about you, Harry? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. Just looking ahead to the Euros now. Coming up soon. Hopefully England can bring it home, but no, I'm doing very good.
Yes. So we are doing our Championship 2023-24 season review. So we're going to start off with, but this is Hanno's doing, guys. He's done all this for me, so I can't thank him. We're doing relegations. We'll start off. I think Hanno wants us to do one at a time. So the bottom team was Rotherham. So who wants to start off first with Rotherham?
I don't mind. I think I'll go if you like. I just think they were one of the certainties almost from very early on in the season. They didn't get off to a good start, unfortunately. And when you're new to the division and you don't get off to a good start, it sort of drains your confidence very quickly. And I think that was shown in their results. They made a bit of a fist of it towards the end. They certainly ruffled a few feathers of the teams they were playing, and to be fair to them, they didn't give up. They didn't roll over and have their tummies tickled. They had a couple of dodgy ones for a period of time, but then they regained themselves and started to give teams a game again. So hats off to them for doing that. But when you're 24 points adrift of the line, you've been well and truly relegated, unfortunately. And as I say, it was largely obvious from the outs, from very early on, I think.
Yeah. Harry, do you want to care to comment?
Yeah, as Martin said, I agree. I think Rotherham, they just didn't have enough quality in that squad really to cope with the other teams in the Championship. And yeah, it's a shame for them because probably got one of the lowest budgets in the league. They were well and truly off it. Had a little bit of a fight towards the end when they were relegated, but ultimately just sadly not good enough for them. But hopefully they can make a quick return to Championship next season.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take all both of your points really. I think, like you say, Rotherham were probably well on the lowest budget. For me, I feel like it was always second season syndrome with them. Like probably they weren't used to surviving in the Championship because they always like a yo-yo between the two. I think having managers that didn't really know the Championship that well, because I had that Exeter manager, I can't remember his name, and then they had Liam Richardson, who used to manage Wigan, and then towards the end they had Steve Evans. So I think, like we all said, it was going to be inevitable that they were going to go down, but I thought the amount of points they got, I thought they could have done a bit better. But yeah, so the next team on 23rd was Huddersfield. So, Harry, do you want to start this one?
Yeah, sure. Huddersfield, I mean, I think they were always going to be in a little bit of trouble this season, having only narrowly survived the season before under Neil Warnock. And I thought he would do his magic again and keep them up until he left. Really, did not see that coming. And of course, they brought in Darren Moore, which at the time I thought was a decent appointment, considering he watched for Wednesday promoted, and I thought we could do all right with them this season. But yeah, just too many draws, really, too many games where they dropped points where they really needed to pick up those wins. I think it was after a 1-1 draw against QPR away from home. He was sacked, and then brought in Andre Brighton, I think his name was, and they had some spirited performances in there, but just not enough really, unfortunately for them. And that game against Birmingham, the 1-1 draw, I think really cost them their relegation, which is quite unfortunate for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin, do you want to care to comment?
Yeah, nothing much to add to that. That about sums it up, really. I think also they had a sniff when they came to our team, Bristol City, and they were 1-0 up, deservedly so in the match. And in the 10th minute of stoppage time, Bristol City got a penalty and robbed them of two valuable points. At that time, it was still quite close, and those 2 points might have just put pressures on the other team. And I think, as Harry says, the QPR game, and combined with that game at Bristol City, completely knocked the stuffing out of them at the end of the season. And in the end, they finished 6 points adrift, which, and it was quite close with 3 or 4 games to go. They were in with as good a chance as probably anybody for a while. But yeah, I think overall, again, if you only get 45 points, you are where you are and you finish where you deserve to. And I think second bottom is about right for them, unfortunately. But given their stadium and their stature in the division, hopefully they'll be among the front runners next season. So we'll see in League One.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a bit like Rotherham, really, you're going to expect them to be round the automatics or playoffs, maybe. Who knows, depending on their business. I mean, Rotherham have signed 6 players right at this moment, the time of recording. But like you say, Huddersfield had 3 managers as well, same as Rotherham. Obviously, Neil Warnock I felt Neil Warnock just didn't know what to do. I think he probably didn't get backed. So I was like, well, I'm not going to stay here for long. Darren Moore, like Harry said, you probably looked and you think he's got like a redemption sort of story around him, and you think he got unfairly sacked by Sheffield Wednesday, didn't really set the tone, and then I'm not going to say the other manager. Don't want to butcher his name. I don't want Huddersfield fans to come after me. So, yeah, exactly that. So, on the next one, it is Birmingham. And all I can say is what a fall from grace they've had this season.
Yeah.
From the playoffs to relegation. That's what I can say. Go on, Harry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, as you said, 6th place in the table, and then decided to sack Eustace was obviously a bizarre decision, and turned out to be probably the wrong decision in the end from Birmingham. And then Rooney just couldn't really get a tune out of the players, and yeah, just almost made it spiraled all the way down from there. And it's a shame really, because they had a good summer transfer window, and everyone thought that they could actually do well and then always come always around 17th every year. People were actually optimistic for them, which was good to see, but it just went horribly wrong. And it's crazy to see them in League One, because they're an established championship club. They were the longest serving championship club until this season. So yeah, it's quite a surprise really to see them go down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep. Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a case of too many voices in the dressing room over the season. You can't. I mean, you had 4 permanent managers, 4 main managers, permanent managers, and also 2 caretakers. So you had 6 different voices in the dressing room. So they're averaging, 7 games each almost, if you take it into those numbers. And that sort of stuff isn't going to work with players. I mean, I know they get mollycoddled a bit, but if you had 6 different bosses in 12 months, you wouldn't know where you were going, what you were doing either. So there's just a case of too many cooks spoil their broth, I'm afraid. You always felt that they won't go down. They'll get that one win or enough points to stay above the line. But on the last day, it wasn't to be. Even though they won the game, it wasn't enough. So in the end, as I say, you do finish where you deserve to finish. But in this case, perhaps it was just a case of the club being sloppy in all areas, really. They shouldn't have gone down. But there we go. Again, they'll be knocking at the door, you would think, in top of League One next season. Hope they do, because Birmingham in the Championship, Birmingham in the higher areas of football is good for English football.
Absolutely. So on to our next one. We are going to do 21st to 17th. And 21st was Plymouth. Martin, would you like to talk about Plymouth?
Yeah, well, Plymouth, they just arrested their slide in time. They got rid of the manager that, and I forget his name as well. Plymouth fans will slaughter me for that. But the guy who, I think he lost 6 home games on the trot, like scoring a goal or something. And they had that sort of just after Christmas, I think it was. They went into that slide, and they took a while to come to the decision, but they just made the decision in time to remove him. And the players seem to be galvanised by that, rightly or wrongly. They should be going out every week. We all know that, but that's football and doing their best, but that's football. So they survived, and I think, obviously, I'm glad they did. And now Mr. Rooney has gone there to sprinkle his magic dust on Home Park. So we'll see what he can do with them. Hopefully, it will be a better marriage than he had at Birmingham. But yeah, Plymouth did what they had to do in the end. I think their key game was winning 1-0 at Rotherham straight after they got the appointment. They went there and showed a robustness about them they hadn't been showing for about 2 months prior to that. So, and then they came good at the end.
What about you, Harry?
Yeah, as Martin said, I'm glad Plymouth stayed up as well. You know, we've got a brilliant fan base down there, and of course, they had to travel incredibly long distances, being based in Devon. So yeah, I'm glad they stayed up. Very dedicated support, and it's been quite a roller coaster ride at Plymouth this season. Now, they looked decent under their previous manager Stephen Schumacher before he left to go join Stoke. And then obviously I think it was Ian Foster who came in, and he started out all right, but then quickly went downhill for him. And yeah, as Martin said, I agree with it. I think they sacked him just at the right time to get a caretaker manager in, and then they just about got over the line. And it'd be interesting to see how Rooney does next year. I'm hoping he can do well, because it'd be nice to see him, try and rectify the reputation like made at Birmingham. So yeah, of course, probably gonna lose Morgan Whittaker, I'd imagine, but if they can get good money for him, then I'm sure we can find an adequate replacement for him, hopefully, in order to survive again next season, hopefully.
Absolutely. I think you guys nailed it on the head. I thought Plymouth started quite well with Schumacher in the helm, and then obviously he went to Stoke. They sort of slightly dipped a little bit. Then, like you say, you got Ian Foster in, started off a little bit, then went downhill. I think that game against Rotherham was pivotal in terms of like what was going to happen going forward, and they got that win, and I think that done them a little bit confidence going into the few final games of the season. So, but yeah, that's what I think. So in 20th, we had Sheffield Wednesday, and I thought they were going down literally early on. I think they had like 0 points in like October, November time with Zisco as their manager. But Daniel comes in, done a really good job, and they survived in the championship.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know the stats, but I would have thought Sheffield Wednesday spent more time in the bottom three than most of the teams in this, apart from Rotherham, because they, as you say, they had a dreadful start, no points after 7 or 8 games at least, and it took a while for them to get going at all. And I think it was only in the latter stages that they got their noses above the line. So, I thought they were gone, but as well. But they rallied, as you say, under new management. More than rallied, because he was there quite a long period. It wasn't that decision at the end of the season. It was a bit of a longer process for him to get it going, but he worked it. And just in time, they survived on the last day. Fair play to them. That, again, when you shouldn't go league tables on crowds, but when you command 30,000, you deserve to try and be in the championship if you possibly can. But it's obviously not a set criteria, but it's nice that those teams are going to be there next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry, would you like to comment?
Yeah, fair play to Danny Rowe, because he's done an unbelievable job, really. First 2 months they looked dead and buried Sheffield Wednesday, because they didn't really have an inspiring summer chance to win as well. And the squad really did look on the aging side a little bit. So yeah, everyone lost hope, really. They wrote Sheffield Wednesday off from the start, but Danny Rose came in and done fantastic, really. Up there in terms of points totals since he was appointed, and just about got over the line. As we say, I think that 3-1 win against Blackburn was a pivotal 3 points just before the last 2 weeks of the season. So I'm glad they set up socks. They're a massive club, and it would have been a shame to even go back down to League One again.
Yeah, absolutely. And also they can look forward to Sheffield United now, can't they? So they've got that for this season. So we know that's going to be popcorn at the ready. In 19th place, we've got Blackburn. For me, it's hard with Blackburn, because it's like they were near playoffs, not last season. Yeah, technically last season, but this season they came 19th. Don't know what happened with that. Yeah, this season they've got Sammy Schmuddocks now. For me, I'm one of those people think maybe cash on him, revamp your whole squad. He's only been like top scorer for this season, so people might just be like, oh, he's only one season, so you might as well cash in now. I'm on that sort of bandwagon, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think. Harry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, really, for Blackburn to keep signing products. I think I agree. I think I would cash in on him, because Blackburn have been guilty in the past of letting big players go on a free. You think of the likes of Brereton Diaz last summer, got him for no money, which was a real shame. So if I were Blackburn, I wouldn't want to make the same mistake with Swanix. Because he's ultimately the reason why Blackburn stayed up in the end. I think it's been quite a difficult season for those fans. I think a lot of them aren't particularly too keen on the ownership, which is a key factor. Attendances and how a team performs, and obviously the manager, John Thomason, leaving. Don't know what happened behind the scenes there, but we're seeing a little bit toxic at Blackburn a little bit. But I'm glad they survived in the end, and I hope they can do well next season. But yeah, hopefully they can get at least upwards of 10 million for Sammy Swanix if they are to cash in on him.
Yeah, absolutely. On to our 18th now. Yep, 18th. We have got QPR. Like Sheffield Wednesday, I feel like QPR were the other team that were in the bottom three for ages. Obviously, with Gareth Ainsworth at the helm, they didn't really set off quite well. But obviously now they've got this guy called Jose Corrientes. Yeah, get in. But yeah, no, they've done really good football, and I'll tell you what, next season I wouldn't be surprised they'll be a lot higher than I think they are now. And thank you for being Leeds 4 now.
I was about to say, yeah, that was their jewel in the crown at the end of the season, towards the end of the season, beating Leeds 4-0, which just shows how far they come from their early season performances, which, as you say, were lacking quite a bit because they were in the bottom three for quite a while. Gareth Ainsworth just seemed to be out of his depth at that level, unfortunately. Having done miracles of Wickham all those years, you get your niche and you come out of that. It's difficult. So yeah, QPR made the right decision to remove him. I think it was reluctant because he's a club, a QPR man. But there we go. It was the right decision, and they've, as you say, a really good platform. Their results at the end of the season, particularly defensively, have given them a good platform to be optimistic for next season for sure. Yeah. They want to.
Harry, would you like to care to come in as well?
Yeah, I just can echo what you guys have said there. I think definitely since the new manager's come in, they've had an upturn in results, and I can see them doing very well next season, especially keep their two big players for me, Elias Chair and Chris Willock. They've always been the playmakers at QPR, and they always get you off your seat a little bit if you're a QPR fan. But if they could keep them next season, then who knows where it can go, because they've had a good season since any manager has come in.
Talk about Willock. Apparently, he's on a go back. He's going to leave QPR on a free. Would you guys take him at Bristol City?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. He's got experience. Yeah, I would take him personally. I don't know about Harry watches them more than I do, so he may not agree that there's a place for him. I don't know, but he just feels that that's a good person to have in the squad at least. But
yeah, no, I think I would take him as well. Definitely, I think on his day he can be one of the best winners in the league. So I think he plays on the right hand side. So I think likes of Cornick and Mark Sykes have kind of struggled for consistency this season. So yeah, I'd take him, to be fair, if QPR are gonna let him go, which would be a massive loss for them.
Yeah, absolutely. 17th place was Stoke. For me, again, just not a really good performance from Stoke. They remind me of like a Salford League 2. They spend a lot of money, but they don't get the answers that they want. I mean, they had it with Alex O'Neill, proven manager with like the Prestons and Sunderland and Norwich, but they just didn't really give him that sort of platform to develop what he can do. But again, I do worry for Stoke for next season, to be honest. What about you guys? What's that with Harry?
You never know what to think of Stoke, because they always bring in tons of players, like you said. I don't know. The manager there, Schumacher, did well. Of course, beat us 4-0 on the final day, which I think it's a end of season game, and probably not take too much into it. But now they definitely ended the season quite well. So I'm not sure if Stoke can improve in the next season, because everybody feels like they can do well after each season, and then they never really challenge for anything. It's always just laying around mid-table, really. So yes, it's a difficult one for Stoke, but I hope they can be up there soon, because they're in the Premier League for a good few seasons, and now they're stuck in the Championship. But hopefully they can get back to where they were very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's our 17th to 21st. We are now going to our 16th to 12th. And in 16th, it was Sunderland. For me, it was sort of like a transition sort of season for Sunderland. They had so many youngsters coming in. And it's a bit like how Chelsea really, like, you have all these youngsters and they have time to gel and things like that. Maybe they could do a bit better, maybe not. I'm on an arm with Sunderland. Obviously, I can't remember their man. They had Alex O'Neill to start with, but they had, what's his name, Michael Beale. Was that right?
Michael Beale,
yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that appointment either, but yeah, that's just my opinion of Sunderland, really. What about yourselves, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be disappointed to finish 16th, because I think they did have a decent start to the season, maybe a bit of momentum from the season before, but I think they expected as a club not to be in the bottom half of the division come game 46. But they had that mid-season disaster, really, with Michael Beale. He just didn't sell himself to the crowd, to the club, and certainly didn't endear himself to the crowd, and got off all on the wrong foot. And then if you take a chunk of the season, almost a third of the season, and almost waste it, unfortunately, that was when they started to plummet down the league. But they got off to a really good start, and they've always got a chance because of their passionate home crowd, and they pack it out every week. And that gives them a chance, as I say. So I tend to think they'll be back up the top half and challenging, knocking on the playoff door at least. next season. I think there'd be maybe a dark horse coming out of that bottom half group that we're looking at. Because if you look at the table, it's pretty tight down there. I mean, there's 4 teams on 56. You're looking at 16th. You could one more win, you could have been 13th or 12th. So it's not so bad to be 17th or 18th in this given season because of the way the points were distributed. So maybe a bit of a false number, 16th, but we'll see how they go next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry?
Yeah, I think there could be signs for excitement with Sunderland. I've heard rumours of it that they could bring in Will Still as manager, who's a very, very young manager, but done a good job over in France with I think it's Rems or I'm not sure how you say it, but yeah, he seemed a very, very good up and coming manager, got a lot of potential. So yeah, maybe they could do well next season, because this season, yeah, as you say, it has been a transition season for Sunderland. Of course, Mick Beale coming in. Don't think anyone really was too keen on that appointment. He wasn't the club's first choice. He wasn't the fans' first choice as a manager, and then he didn't really help himself, really, to be honest. Seeing that video of him, not shaking the player's hand after he was subbed off in their 2-1 defeat at Brimingham, which was obviously the game that got him a sack. But hopefully he can be up there again, because they've got a good young squad. Maybe they need a young manager. That perfect fit of a young manager, young players, and a project at Sunderland where hopefully they can do well and get back to where they belong, and at the time where Derby on a regular once again.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the 15th in the Championship. It was Watford. For me, they were like yo-yo in the Championship. I thought they were doing really well with Ishmael, and then they were dropping down, and then they would do again. But then obviously there was sometimes they were really bad form. They did get rid of him at the end. They brought in Tom Cleverley, who is obviously their sort of current player, but I think he's now literally taken on the manager role permanently. So I don't know about that appointment. I think, well, if you're Watford, you probably sack everybody manager, so probably no one wants to join you. But yeah, Watford for me, again, and that's probably where they are, actually. They should be, to be honest. What do you guys think, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think, Watford, they're just sort of a regress to a mid-table, mediocre Championship club since they came down two years ago now. Ishmael, he did do it okay, but I don't think Watford were ever sort of challenging for the playoffs on room. So I can't see why they are sacked him. Although Watford have got a very, very cutthroat approach when it comes to managers, as we've seen in the past. But yeah, maybe with sort of that younger manager, obviously hope they stay with him as a project, because maybe he can turn out to be a good manager, Tom Cleverley. So yeah, maybe I'm not sure where Watford can go next season. Of course, depends on the transfer business, but yeah, it's all an unknown with Watford with the manager. It's literally going to be his first proper season as a manager. So yeah, it's going to be a big season for them for sure.
Absolutely. Martin?
Yeah, nothing much to add to that, really. I mean, they probably had more 0-0s than everybody else in the division every time, especially towards the end of the season. I think they had a run of them on the trot. And to have a 0 goal difference just about and be mid-table just about sums Watford's season up, really. It was, as you said, they had a few highs, a few lows, and then just sat somewhere in the middle of those. Never much. It didn't inspire me much, Watford last year. But they need to perhaps have a bit more flair about them, I think. But we shall see how they go in the summer. As you say, it's a big summer for a lot of this batch of clubs, really, if they're going to push on next season or push up. So we shall see. But yeah, Watford for me, 15th, 0 goal difference, just about sums up their season, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next one we are going to do is Swansea. For me, Swansea, towards the end of the season, I feel like I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were getting points near enough because they were near like where the Sheffield Wednesdays are, the Blackburns. But they've now obviously got, I think, Luke Williams replacing Michael Duff, who used to manage Notts County. I feel like he's now got sort of an imprint, and come the summer, I think he will try and get some of his players who used to be at Notts County, maybe Macaulay Langstaff, who knows. But yeah, no, I think Swansea, towards the end, I think they did quite well.
Yeah, Swansea did end the season very, very well, and yeah, I mean, hopefully they can do like push for playoffs next season because I got a mate who was a massive Swansea fan, so yeah, it would be nice to see them do well because I got quite a soft spot for Swansea, as you can imagine. But yeah, Michael Duff didn't really work out for them, and yeah, since Luke Williams has come in, they've actually been doing all right. So yeah, got nothing really much to say about Swansea. Really, to be honest, just yeah, hopefully we can do our next season because yeah, as you say, maybe we can get Langstaff in with the Notts County link there. That'll be a big sign of them if it does happen, and yeah, we'll see how Swansea can do next year.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, I mean Swansea, as you say, Swansea were flirting with relegation, but they always had enough in the tank, I think, and they play some decent football. They pass it well, and they won the Welsh Derby at the back end of the season, which will give them a bit of credit with their fans for a while as well. So and they did pull their results around pretty well. And we're never really in danger of the last few weeks of the season of going down. So yeah, mid-table, yeah, but I think they could be doing better and should be doing better. So perhaps next season we'll see them knocking on the door of the top six as well properly, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Millwall, next one. Again, I thought, a bit like QPR, a bit like Sheffield Wednesday, I thought there was the teams, I thought, could Millwall actually go down? I didn't think it, but part of me was how they played. I remember the game against Ipswich at the Den, how they were just so much far open. But yeah, we just couldn't believe it. And obviously Neil Harris comes in, club legend, sort of steered them in the right direction. It'd be interesting what they do this coming season in terms of who are they going to sell, who they're going to buy, or are they going to back Harris as well? So I would like to know your thoughts, Martin.
Yeah, I mean Neil Harris, I think he deserved to be backed for turning the last third of the season around because they, as you say, that Ipswich game was in the middle of everyone was just beating them by 3 or 4-0. There was no resistance at all for a long period a middle period of the season from Millwall, and they were nosediving, and relegation they were nosediving to the bottom 3 quite readily, and then, as you say, club legend comes back in for a 4th time, possibly as manager, certainly the 3rd, I think. And the players, again, they responded. It's funny how voices in the dressing room, they seem to inspire players. And he's been there and done it, and he can talk the Millwall way, of whatever that may be, and it seemed to work. And as you say, now it's a big summer window for them. Again, are they going to back the manager? Are they going to give him the resources to properly sort of compete at the top end of the championship? We shall see, but he deserves that for what he did last season. He really did pull that round, and they had some brilliant results and ruffled a few feathers at the top of the table as well when they came across those teams. So fair play to them.
What about you, Harry?
Yeah, I totally agree. The reappointment of Neil Harris, he knows Mill inside out, and he really got that team playing as we so to speak the Millwall way, make it a very intimidating place to go out of Den and make Millwall very, very tough to beat, especially away from home. And that really got Millwall a lot of good results, and it's crazy to think about. A month before the end of the season, they were in a relegation scrap, and now they've comfortably finished in around mid-table, which been a bit of a transition season. Obviously, getting rid of Gary Rowett after a good few years, after failing to reach playoffs, after knocking on the door for quite a few years. But maybe we'll stay with Harris. I reckon we should, because he knows the club more than any manager really. So maybe it should be another exciting season for Mill next season. Probably they should be up there where they so usually are these days, up around those up top end and table and fighting for the top 6.
Yeah, absolutely. On to our 12th of the last of the 16 round 12. It was Cardiff. For me, massive improvement for them this season. I feel like last time with the signings, I thought they sort of helped. Yes, obviously it'd be nice for like sort of Aaron Ramsey to actually get into the team more, but obviously kind of with the injuries. But yeah, if I'm Cardiff, massively improved. Although I remember the game when they beat us 2-1 at Cardiff and we conceded 2 goals in injury time. It was quite heartbreaking, but fair play to Cardiff. So, Harry?
Yeah, we have got to get to Cardiff. They have really improved since they almost got relegated. If Reading didn't get a point selection, then they would have been in League One. So yeah, fortunate for that. But now they've definitely improved this season under their new manager, Errol Bulut, I think is how you say it. And his first season in managing England, I think he's only going to improve with that squad. Maybe could short the defence a little bit. They did concede 70 goals, which is one of the most goals conceded by any team in the league. Of course, that 5-2 defeat to Rovers on the final day, probably players not playing at 100%. But of course, they did ship quite a few goals, and it's interesting because I think their fullback Perry Ng was a top scorer of 6 goals. So maybe still need a few more additions to really push on to his player spots if they want to be there. But no, that's been a solid improvement compared to where they were the season prior to this one.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, and echo all of that. It was their defence that was letting them down consistently last year, and they didn't quite have the firepower up front to cover up those cracks. I mean, a -17, as Harry said, there's only one team worse than that outside the relegation zone. So that just shows you what their defence, the defence was their weakest link. So if they can shore that up and carry on the good forward play that they finished the season with, apart from the last game, of course, then yeah, they've got a chance as well. This top 6 is getting very crowded. I think we've got about 9 teams in there at the moment, but we'll see how it goes next season. But yeah, Cardiff, again, that's the competitive nature of the Championship. All these teams we've mentioned, probably one or two, are all worthy of being in that top area next season. They've all got a chance. So it's such a tough league. But yeah, Cardiff again have certainly got a chance, just by the way they've gone about their business this year.
Absolutely. We are now on to our 11th to 7th, almost near the promised land, just over halfway. So we've got, of guests here, we've got Bristol City. So I'll let you guys. Which one of you guys wants to start?
I'll let Harry go. I'll give Harry the floor because he goes to matches. I used to go home and away for years and year on year, but I don't live geographically. I don't live in the area anymore. So I'll give Harry the floor because he goes every week.
Go on, Harry.
Thanks, Martin. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a decent season for us. Yeah, I've enjoyed going to games this season. There's been a lot of good moments, of course. That West Ham game in the FA Cup, I went to both the matches and very special memories in that one. And yeah, I think we were very solid at the back. Only 51 goals conceded, which was the 4th best defensive record in the league. Maybe could do it with but yeah, I think we definitely need a new striker in the summer because it looks like that Tommy Conway could leave us, our main centre forward, and we definitely need to get an adequate replacement because our second choice striking at Naki Wells. Potentially even he could leave as well because he's getting on a little bit now. So a couple incomes in the front line, and I think we should be challenging for his playoffs hopefully, because I think Liam Mann's done brilliant work since he's come in, and I don't see any reason why we can't be up there if we have a really good chance of winning there. I think it's a really good squad, and it's only going to improve with a young team and a young manager as well.
Absolutely. Martin?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, if I'm honest, I was a bit disappointed they got rid of Nigel Pearson at the time they did. I just felt I thought the younger players in the squad were responding to him. He is a manager that can stand up in the dressing room and whether he's got the T-shirt, it's been there, done it type of thing. And I tend to like that type of manager or type of coach. However, Liam Manning has done very well since he came in. Wasn't always the fans' choice originally, I don't think. So we had to get rid of that, shed that skin, if you like. The fans aren't really taking to me instantly. However, he won them round. They had a very good run towards the end of the season, more defensively than attack-minded, and I think that's where they've definitely got to improve. Their goal scoring rate wasn't good enough. If you want to really challenge in the top six properly, defensively, fourth best, as Harry's pointed out, is excellent in this division. So you've got to really keep that together and change up front. And although Tommy Conway might leave and Naki Wells might leave, to me it wouldn't be an absolute disaster, because that's where our weakness is at the moment. So either they've got to change it around a little bit. So if one of them was to go, it wouldn't bother me too much. I don't think probably Naki Wells, as from an age perspective, perhaps should be replaced or can be replaced, and somebody to work with Conway. But Naki Wells, apparently, I heard because I live in Portsmouth, is maybe going to Portsmouth in the close season. That's something I've heard on the grapevine this end of the woods. So, yeah, there's a chance I think he will be under pressure, because that's the nature of it. The expectation levels at Bristol City have been high for a number of seasons, and they haven't quite reached them. It's almost threatening to promise without really delivering the real sucker punches. So he's under pressure to do it, but he's proven he's got the guile for the Championship, having come from League One. So good luck to him. It's as Harry said, young squad generally, young manager, and they need to give him the money, throw a bit of money at him to really to cement in what they've got. So yeah, let's another one in the top six. Very crowded top six.
We can't wait for the predictions, lads, when it comes to that.
It'll be 6 equal.
Yeah, joint 6.
Joint 6, 20 teams.
Yeah. I think you all summed up Bristol City quite well. I'm glad you guys came 11th, because before the season started, obviously you had Nigel Pearson. You also lost your not talisman, but one of your key players in Alex Scott. Didn't know how that was going to affect. I thought you would have gone a little bit lower, but obviously, because I thought you would sign a load of players, it would have taken time to gel. A bit like Sunderland sort of aspect of it. But the fact is, I feel like you still got that money from Alex Scott. And obviously with that Conway now going, you still got money there. So I feel like if you invested on the strikers and things like that, I think like you will go far. I think your defence was solid as well. I mean, the game against Ipswich, I feel like we were very lucky in that game, both at Bristol City and at Portman Road. Especially at Portman Road, one wasn't even a penalty, and the second one, Lee Davis won. Obviously, the person was there at the wrong time, trying to defend it. But I felt like a draw was a little bit fair, but I would have edged it to Bristol City. So, on to our 10th. It is Preston. Preston is one of those, they started off quite well. I remember that one time they were literally at the top of the table of the Championship early on. And then they sort of slightly dipped down. People question Ryan Lowe, his sort of method and tactics. I don't know if he's still on board with him at the moment. But we shall see, depending on their signings. I know they had that wing back, I think, called Miller. He scored a really good goal against Leeds. But that's about it, really. That's the only thing I know about Preston. So over to you, Martin.
No. Preston, they threatened the playoffs, didn't they? Almost into the last couple of weeks, and then they just fell away. I think they lost a key game at home to Hull. That was almost their mini little final. Whoever won that game was going to be still in the picture, and the other was going to fade away. But I think, again, a bit like Bristol City, they lack goal power, perhaps, or enough goal power to really make a real challenge this season. But they were always in the top 10. I don't think they ever flirted outside of that. They're pretty consistent. Given you can't take that away from them. And 63 points. In the end, 10 points off the playoffs. So they did have fell away a bit towards the end, because I said they were in the mix with not challenging Norwich at the time for quite a long time. So, but yeah, again, they're a danger next season to anybody. And they're always hard to beat. We never seem to beat them. We seem to struggle against them every time we play them, wherever we play them. Play them on the moon, I think we still wouldn't beat them. It's just they're one of those teams that we always struggle against. So Preston, deservedly, because of their consistency, that's their platform for next season, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. Preston. They've always been. They always start well, Preston, but then they always slip away a little bit. It seems to be a recurring theme with Preston at the moment. But yeah, I can agree with what you said, Ben Martin. I think maybe they lack some goals, and I think their defence is getting on the older side of it now. So maybe switch up in defence as well, but. Ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see what we do next year as either team in the championship, really, and maybe another team that can push for congested top six next year.
Very congested top six.
Fair enough, guys. So on to our 9th, Coventry. I'd say they've had a good season, to be honest with you. They may have obviously got 9th. You think, they normally challenge it, but they got into the semi-final of the FA Cup, gave United a run for the money, taking them to pens. So overall, I feel like it's a good sort of performance from Coventry. But after that, I think they were just tired, and I think that was just their season capped off. That was done. So, yeah. Martin?
Yeah, no, that sums it up, really. I think, again, they were really pushing for the playoffs until they got, let's say, distracted by the FA Cup, but they channeled their efforts into that, and rightly so. And then they couldn't do the two, really. To the level that was needed in the league, and they did fall away a bit towards the end. But yeah, they had a very good season. Considering they had a poor start as well, if I recall, they were down the bottom for for the early start of the season. So they to end up with 64 points and push the other teams nearly all the way for the playoff place, and get to the cup semi-final, and probably very unlucky on a marginal VAR decision not to be in the final. Then that's another story. But they can sit proud, and they represented the championship standard of the championship brilliantly, I thought, in their cup run, which is a good thing.
Absolutely, Harry.
Yeah, once again, I agree with everything there. I think Coventry, of course, they may have got distracted by the FA Cup, but who wouldn't want to give up a day out at Wembley, and they did give a real good go, Coventry, from a situation found themselves in 3-0 down, getting back to 3-3. Of course, as you mentioned, very unlucky with that last minute when they get chalked off, and then can hold the nerve when it came to penalties. They would have been in a final, but sadly wasn't a second time at Wembley this season for them. But overall, it's been quite a memorable season for those fans, I think, and they've got some decent players, and Coventry, we do see this about every team. I do feel they have got a really good chance of making the playoffs next year, because Mark Robins, this has been one of his seasons where he hasn't pushed the team on a little bit, but maybe because this championship's been one of the most competitive championships we've had for a while. So maybe next year, I don't see the league being as competitive as has been this year. So potentially we can get back into his playoff places and hopefully it's not a playoff final defeat for them once more.
Absolutely, and I just want to say a little bit from Coventry before we move on. I think fair play to them, especially when they sold Gyökeres and Hamer. And when you saw how low they were, you can be like, well, that's because obviously they sold their players, took them time to adjust, sort of players, but yeah, no, fair play to them. In 8th place, it is Middlesbrough. Again, it should be where they are, but I feel like they had that sort of transition sort of period, so I'm not going to judge them too much, but at the same time, maybe they could do a little bit better, in my opinion. What do you think, Harry?
Yeah, I think everyone have them up there in around sort of like the top 4 area, because of course Michael Carrick in his first season, the season before, did very well. They were down near the bottom. They came like 4th for me, and I believe it was. Going into the playoffs, unfortunately, did lose to Coventry in the semis. But no, I think it's been, as you say, it has been a transition season. Of course, it's a young manager. It's literally like his first full season as literally a number 1 head coach. So he's not going to get it right 100% of the time. I think Middlesbrough can understand that with Carrick, as they have kept him throughout the season, even when they like they weren't doing much. And they had that really good run until the end of the season. Fortunately, a little too late for them, but maybe if they can add just a striker, because I think they lacked a little bit of goals. If they can add a striker to that team, and look like a very, very good team going into the Championship next season.
Absolutely. Martin?
Yeah, underline all of that again. They had a bit, as you say, they had a bit of a hangover from losing that playoff final last year. Took them a while to get going this season, and I say it started to be a season of transition for them. But they certainly finished well and had a good second and middle season and the back end of the season. To finish 8th and 69 points is a good return from where they started at the stumbling start of the season. So, yeah. And I'm glad they stuck with Michael Carrick, because they could have easily have had that poor start, all the rumblings and people, the expectations straight away after being, we know about that from when we lost to Hull City way back in 2008. The expectation levels the following season are far too high, really, I think. And so they stuck with Carrick, and that was good. Again, they've got an excellent platform for next season. They won't be anywhere near the bottom next season. They'll be vying at the top, I think.
Absolutely. In 7th, it is now. We got is Hull. I feel like Hull, another really good performance for the season for them. I think if they signed the players they had in January into the summer, I feel like they would have got automatics like the Fabio Cavallios. I know he wasn't, but Jaden Philogene was a quality player. But yeah, I don't know about second in Rosinha. I mean, I suppose you sort of see 50-50. Yes, they got them to 7th, but if you look at the players that they had, you can't expect them in the playoffs. So what did you think of that, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a poor decision to sack Liam Rosinha, in my opinion. But I understand these owners at the moment are trigger happy because they just see their investment that they've made into their footballing side, and they want that return. But if you understand football, to see that top 6, it's a tough top 6 to break into, even with the players they signed. Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, Ipswich, Leicester, and Norwich. I mean, blimey, to sack a manager for not nipping ahead of one of those 6 is a tough gig. So I hope it doesn't come back to bite them, because the players seem to have bought into the Rosinha regime. But fresh start, summer break, and they come back, and we'll see what they do with, as you say, with the players that if they'd had them all season, then they may well have been in the top 6. But they certainly pushed Norwich all the way. In the end, they had a stumble, didn't they? And I think that's probably cost Rosinha his job. They had a 4 or 5 game winless spell just at the wrong time, because they were just looking as if they were really going to push on, and suddenly a couple of wheels came off, and they ended up only 3 points adrift in the end, but with an inferior goal difference, so it's 4 points really. But let's hope they don't fall away because of the change of manager. I don't think they will, because the quality of player is there, but I think there's going to have to be a bit of a not transition, but a re-energizing of everybody after the sacking of a manager like that. I think that was harsh.
Yeah. What do you think, Harry?
I agree with everything that's been said. I think I think what Hull really struggled with was their home form. I think their home form was very Achilles heel this season. They didn't lose too much at home, but they did drop a load of valuable points from winning positions. You think about that Leicester game that they had at home against the Foxes. They took really twice and still end up with only coming away with just 1 point. So they could see some of those games out, then they would have been up there in the playoffs. And as you say, was a shock to see Rosina being sacked, but then again, you could kind of understand it, and it's going to be difficult to try and replace or keep those loan players that they did sign in January. But and it's going to be a whole new setup really at Hull with the new manager coming in. But I think if they get the recruitment right and the appointment right, I think there's still hope for Hull going into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we are on to the playoff teams and automatics. So 6 more teams, guys. Come on, we got this. So we've got Norwich, the first team that came in 6th. Norwich, for me, again, up and down sort of thing. People didn't really like David Wagner's sort of style of play. But at the end of the day, I just feel like what he's done for Norwich, taking to the playoffs, not many people got injured, like the Jonathan Rose, Sargents, Ashley Barnes. I feel like he has done a good job. I don't know who their manager is now. I really don't. But I don't think Norwich will do that well this season. Coming season. I'm not saying that because I'm Ipswich. So, Harry. I mean, they could say 15 years, but
as you say, not many people were backing David Wagner, and he did do quite decently well with having likes of Josh Sargent and Johnny Rowe, as you say, out for a decent proportion of the season. I think playoffs was expected really for Norwich, just by going there. They conceded and scored for quite a few, similar to where their noise neighbours Ipswich really. Both tough teams to play up against this season, and I think it's definitely going to be tough to keep the likes of Johnny Rowe, potentially even Sargent as well. I think maybe appointed a new manager yesterday, but I can't remember his name, and he doesn't seem that experienced really either. So it's a risk for Norwich, but they're always a big club, always up and around there near the top 6. So maybe they can have another good season next year if they get the recruitment right, similar to Hull. I think it's going to be a similar situation for Norwich.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah. I mean, they had an up and down season to start with, as you say. I think I remember them losing 6-2 at Plymouth at one point early in the season. So they certainly had some eye-catching results, both for and against. But they did seem to get a consistency towards the end of the season, which made them just get over the playoff line. I like their style, but it's a one-dimensional style. I think they can't seem to change it. If the match goes against them or something happens that isn't unexpected in their game plan, they can't seem to react to that. I think that's their downfall at the moment. Against in that game at Leeds in the playoff semi-final, they had no answer at all. They couldn't get a plan B going. And that was their nemesis, I think, at times during the season. They were fine when they could dictate the play, do their stuff, play their passing game, and they were good to watch. They're good on the eye, but They didn't have that plan B, that X factor that you really need to push on in this division. So we'll see how they go next year, but they earned their playoff place by rights. Fair play to them for having the chance. We're all envious of that.
Yeah, absolutely. On to our fifth team. Our fifth was West Brom. West Brom, I mean, fair play to them. Fair play to Carlos Corberan. Good manager. Didn't hardly spend as much compared to, obviously, like the teams that went down, things like that. But you've got to give him a lot of credit. I feel like next season, it depends on him. Is he going to go to Leicester or is he going to stay with West Brom? I do not know. There was at times where they would stay fifth the whole time, and you think, oh, could they be slipping down? Because they always get like draws or losses. They didn't really cement it till the last day. But yeah, what would you all think about that? Who was it? Martin?
I'll go if you like. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was doing the weekly predictions, they were just, for me, always in that they were just there all the time. I think, as I said, I used the term they hibernated into the top six. They went in there about the last October and didn't come out again. We never saw them, so they stayed in the top six. To be fair, so they had a very consistent season. Their game was built around their defence. 1-0, 2-0 was a regular scoreline of theirs. Teams found it very difficult to go to West Brom, the Hawthorns, and win or even get points. But they did sort of relax, I think, a bit. They believed their own publicity towards the end of the season, and it nearly cost them a little bit. Everyone was saying, "Oh, West Brom are nailed on." So they thought, "Oh, we're nailed on," and suddenly the teams are coming in their wing mirror, and they had to sort of wake up a little bit, which they did just in time. And in the end, a 5-point cushion from Hull was deserved for what they did. I think they were very consistent and a very good team, and they will be there. If they can keep the players together and add to it, they'll be there or thereabouts once again next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Harry?
Yeah, once again, I do completely agree with everything that you guys have said. Fair play to Carlos Corberan, because at the start of the season there was a lot of financial issues and he could have easily left them in a real sticky situation. But he stayed and proved his managerial capabilities, improving the place on last season, a playoff place, and unfortunate to lose to obviously the eventual winners in Southampton. But yeah, I think we can keep the core group for squad. Maybe I see Colin Grant going out there and doing well because he always seems to score quite a few goals. West Brom might struggle really with his loan spell at Cardiff. So maybe that's another option for goals, because I think I've always said this with West Brom. They can always create chances, but I think they're really, really wasteful in terms of probably got the highest expected XG or are there in the championship. They never really, they always miss quite a few chances in games, but hopefully they can iron out next season and probably another playoff finish with them. It's just this time can we go one better and go all the way and win promotion back to the Premier League.
Yep. On to our fourth team that they won the playoffs. Southampton. For me, at the start of the season, they started a bit slow. Obviously, with Ross Martin coming into it with his own ideas. Southampton on a bit of a low sort of patch. Obviously, players getting sold like the Lavias, the Ward-Prowses. But it took them a time to get used to Russell Martin's plans. And then they went on a good, massive winning run. But then, yeah, when they came to Ipswich at Portman Road, I felt like they were the most organised team I watched against Ipswich in the first half. But then second half, they just didn't finish their chances. And obviously, they went down to 10 men. And it sort of kind of like missed opportunity for them, because I feel like they should have taken that. But it's one of those. What do you think of that, Harry?
Yeah, I think overall it's been a consistent season for Southampton. Definitely deserving to go up as we say. Russell Martin, he's a streaky manager. He goes through good and bad patches. Obviously, you have that 25 game unbeaten run in all competitions in that middle part of the season. Of course, we stopped that when beating 3-1 at our place. That was a very very good match. But after that, they are still good teams to do well. That didn't really, stop them in their tracks, which few people thought it would. But I don't think they would have ever caught up to the top two, even with the games in hand that they had. But I think out of all the relegated sides, I think they were the ones most likely to finish in the playoffs. And fair play to them, they did. And congratulations to them, they got promoted back to their own league at the first time asking. And there's no better place to do it than at Wembley. So yeah, fair play to Southampton. They've been very good this year.
Yep. Martin?
Yeah, I mean, they just had an attitude. I enjoyed watching Southampton, I must admit, in the games I did see them play. They just had the attitude of, if you score 3, we'll score 4, we'll just go for it. It may be a bit foolhardy at times to do that, but and then towards the end of the season, as you say, they started to rein that in a bit, and they had to rein it in on Sunday, and it came up trumps for them. But yeah, they were. I thought they were a good entertainment value throughout the season. I know I live in the postcode area for them, so I see highlight reels and listen. Their noise is always on the telly, but locally. But yeah, I thought they were excellent, and yeah, they had that sort of hit and miss end of the season with their fixtures. They had the fire next to their ground. They had the teams they were playing always seemed to be in the FA Cup, so they got behind on their games. And whilst it wouldn't have cost them, they wouldn't have got 96 points as it turned out. But they lost their momentum to be competitive with the other 3 every week because of the fixture list sort of gaps they had, which is a bit unfortunate. But in the end, it came up trumps, and they had a great day on Sunday. Yeah, so and it saved my house insurance because they won't be playing Portsmouth next season, so it's all good.
Thank you, Southampton, for saving Martin.
Yeah, absolutely, saving don't have to call out the windows anymore. It's all right.
Absolutely. Right, so in third place we got Leeds. Again, what can we say about Leeds? Fair play to them for making it entertaining. Same with Southampton as well, actually, because they made it a 4-horse race for a bit. But Leeds, for me, by far probably the best team out there, home and away against Ipswich, battered us at Ellen Road, and then the first game was obviously they tried to get used to Daniel Farke, a bit like Southampton away with Daniel Farke sort of tactics and things like that. But when they get going, they got players like Somerville, Archie Gray, and all those sort of talented players. I do worry what's going to happen to them next season. I feel like they might be all right, but some might have to go because I think they owe 190 mil in terms of transfer fees or something like that, or like in debt. So, but they have got a majority sort of share in Red Bull. But yeah, so fair play to Leeds. Fortunately, 90 points didn't get you up, but I hope you make it up next season. So, yeah. Is it Martin?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I mean, the 3 sides at the top were plus Southampton to a certain degree, but yeah, Leeds 90 points. I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that they're the first team with 90 points not to go up. So that's unfortunate. You if you set your stall out and think we'll get 90 points, you're going to be almost certain of automatic promotion on most seasons. We just had 2 other sides that we'll discuss in a minute that just made that not the case. Yeah, they've got. I also read about their financial issues. They've got to get this debt down quickly, I think, as well. So so they might have to sell players for that. Plus, they're bound to be a hangover from losing the final. There always is with these teams, or usually is with these teams. So there's a few factors that, as you say, may put a few red flags up for how Leeds are actually going to do next season after having such a brilliant season this year. But if they can keep the majority of players and add a bit of quality to it, then there's no reason why they shouldn't dust themselves down and come back strong again next season.
Absolutely. Harry?
Yeah, very, very unlucky Leeds not to be promoted. With that squad as well, I think all the teams coming down had a very good team, and Leeds were the unlucky ones not to go up here in the end. And I think we had a bit of a slow start with Daniel Farke coming in, but especially in the start of the new year, we had that very good unbeaten run, and unfortunately it fell apart for them just at the most important time of the season. They couldn't finish above Ipswich in the end, so they had to go into playoffs. Thankfully, for you guys, they beat your rivals Norwich, so they aren't going to come up to probably next season. But unfortunately lost in the final. But yeah, they did have some good players. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to see the likes of some of the one Archie Gray, as you say, for next season. But I think these will be up thereabouts. So a very good core group of players, and very unlucky. I really do hope they do get back up next season.
Yeah, absolutely. On to our second is my team, Ipswich. What can I say? Just very beyond proud of the team and Kieran McKenna, the whole staff. If you said to me would come second, I would not have believed you. I would have probably predicted us to be like the lower, sort of not lower mid-table near relegation, but sort of around 13th or 14th, and then you build from there, and then you keep building. Because I was just happy that we were back in the Championship. I never thought in my lifetime I'll be saying that we're in the Prem, but like I say, massive credit to all the players and the staff, and also the fans as well, week in, week out, all the travelling, even on midweek games. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it short and sweet there. But, Harry, do you want to go, mate?
Credit to Ipswich for the season. Definitely surprised me a lot this season, and I think it surprised a lot of other people as well. Just absolutely incredible. The mentality of that group is incredible. And Kieran McKenna, absolute genius as a head coach, and I'm so glad he's stayed on with you guys, because I think he's a great manager. He's going to go right to the top. So I think there's definitely signs of excitement on the way for Ipswich going into Premier League. I think if you can have a good chance to win, I think you definitely have a good chance of surviving. I think the three teams that came up to the Prem last season, they didn't really invest too much. So I think investment is key if you want to survive in a league. And but now, credit to the season, it's been unbelievable. Must be just amazing to experience it as an Ipswich fan yourself. So yeah, credit to Ipswich, and good luck to you guys in the Prem next year.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, no, I absolutely underline what you guys have said. They had their little wobble, had the Maidstone weekend, and then just after that, they stumbled a bit in the league as well. That seemed to knock them a little bit. But they recovered because they had the right guidance to recover, and then they went on, and they did have some late winners in games, but that's testimony to the manager, the team, and the spirit. As you say, the game against Bristol City, 2-1 down, 10 minutes to go. They just came good when they needed to against all that adversity. If there was any adversity in their matches, they overcame it, and that's why they sit pretty in second place with 96 points, which any other season probably would give them the title. But it's been a freakish season at the top end of the Championship this winter. So fully deserved, amazing points total. And to do all of that in 2 seasons, it's no wonder McKenna has been touted a little bit with bigger names. But let's hope he stays with Ipswich, and it just shows what you can do if you stay with it. And you Company has gone to Bayern Munich, and you don't have to jump ship. You still get noticed, even if you're doing well at a club that may struggle a bit next season. But let's hope they don't, because we need these teams getting promoted to do something. The 3 up, 3 down. We can't keep having that, because it'll just create too much of a gap. So let's hope Ipswich are stuck buck the trend, and Leicester likewise, and stay up next season.
Absolutely. And on to our first place, it was Leicester. Enzo Maresca's first season in charge, I feel like when he took over, you expected them to actually win it. The amount of players they had in the team with the wages and everything, you can't expect them to do it. But the only thing I've got is they were literally had like a 12-point lead or something like that over I think it was like Leeds, I think at one point. And then after that, they put themselves into a 4-4 race. And I just think to myself, how could you be 1 point ahead of a team that just got back-to-back promotions, and yet you got the Chelsea job? It's just bizarre to me. But yeah, I'll let you guys carry on. What are you going to think, Martin?
No, I had them nailed down. I mean, when I was doing my review and my previews, I had them in this. I kept saying the Championship's gone into 3 sections and level, whatever, how many sections, and Leicester in a section of their own because they were so far ahead, as you say. But they had a wobble. It was quite a serious wobble, I think, for a while. We beat them at home, I think 1-0, deservedly so on a live game. And they lost to teams that suddenly started losing to teams that from all areas of the division for a while. And the fans were getting on their back, and the manager was having to defend his corner. So all got a little bit tetchy, even for a side that, as you say, was 12, 14 points clear or whatever it was. But they did rally. Leeds dropping away gave them a bit of a boost as well. But Ipswich pushed them all the way. But I think in the end, Leicester deserved to be top and deserved to be champions. Well, they were, because you get 97 points, blimey, of course you do. But I think their football was over the season was pretty good, and it was a high standard. And hopefully, again, as I say, they'll buck the trend and do well, or do have a good footing in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, I agree. Leicester, they just about got the title wrapped up over the line. Now, obviously, 12 points clear of Leeds, as Joe mentioned there. At one stage, even only to finish top by 1 point. It's a little bit concerning, but overall, they have deserved to win the league. It's going to be, I don't know, I think it's going to be a tough season from next season. Obviously, heard about the points deduction map that they've got coming. Heard this could come in between anywhere from 6 to 15 points, which is going to be a killer blow for them. And to be honest, I'm not with Maresca leaving as well to Chelsea. That's a risk for him. Also, leaves Leicester in a bit of a predicament because need a manager in fast, and can't see too many managers out there at the moment who are fitting off the Premier League job. So it's going to be a tough season for Leicester. Probably say my favourites out of 3 teams prior to go back down, but who knows? Strange things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we've done all of our teams from 24 to 1. So big up to Harry, big up to Martin for helping me do this. And also thank you to Hannah for making me set up on this account and things like that. So, Harry, if you want to start your socials or anything like
that. Do feel free to come check out Talk of the City podcast with myself and my good friend Kieran. We're going to be doing our first episode next Thursday, really. So do feel free to come check out, and do have individual channels as well. Be sure to check out Honeygun and Kieran website if you wish. And other than that, thank you for having me on, and really enjoyed today. And see you guys. See you guys soon.
See you, Harry.
And for Martin.
Yeah, no, I haven't got any personal socials really, so I just hook up here when I'm asked to come on and do a stint. Quite happy to do that and give my opinions, and long may it continue for next season, and we'll see how we go. Thank you.
Absolutely. So
summer well, everybody.
Yeah. So obviously Harry Snell done the socials. Big up to them. Please thank Martin. Thank you, Harry, for talking all about the Championship for an hour and 20 minutes.
Almost 90 minutes. Almost 90 minutes.
We did respectfully quite well, I must admit.
We gave each team the respect they deserve. That's something.
Yeah. Thank you, Hanno, for doing the Talk of the City for Harry and his friend Kieran. Please subscribe to them. Much appreciated for turning up, as always. And also, fair play to Bristol City. Hope you guys have a good rest of the season. And I do think you guys actually will be around that, especially with Liam Mann in there.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But we shall see.
But
yeah.
Right then, guys.
Right. Thank you.
See you later, guys. Take care.
See you later. Thanks for having me on. Bye-bye. Bye.